On this episode, we're going to feature two past events, one by RevPro, live at Not the Copy 54, or as known as Live at 229, that took place early October. We even got, of course, going to review AAW Pro with the Windy City Classics that took place back in November, and also Night 2 of AEW Rampage Holiday Bash, which features the main event, the TNT title between Cody Rhodes and the champion Sammy Guevara. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leader Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Lead It Wrestle Zone, all things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, let's begin with RevPro, which took place back in early October on the 3rd, with live at Not the Cockpit 54, or as later been known as Live at 229. Now, don't ask me why the venue was changed that way, but don't want to know, don't want to waste time with it. Opening match, we have tag team duos. We got the ambassador of British Pro Wrestling, Doug Williams, and teaming with Brandon White to take on Sunshine Machine, TK Cooper, and Chuck Mambo. Now, this match was a very interesting one. The reason I say this, you look at Doug Williams, he is like the guy that many British wrestlers look up to. Many can say he is one of the foundations of the modern British pro wrestling. But it was Chuck Mambo that pulled up the biggest upset to win the match. I was like when he pinned Brandon White. Now Doug Williams, he is the kind of guy who embraces whatever comes in their way, knowing that guys like Sunshine Machine, they are an extremely different talent that they could imagine. But Brandon White, who is on his learning curve, is teaching him, don't worry about it. It was a mistake. We'll fix it. So I have to say Doug Williams is being a good mentor, despite the fact of what Gideon Gray says. Next up, we got women's action. Debbie Cattell versus Amira Blair. Now, Debbie has been gunning her eyes on the undisputed women's championship that was at the time was held by Giselle Shaw. Now, this match had implications to it on every level, but however, it was Debbie Cattell that won the match when she pinned Amari. Now, Cattell has a mean streak, decided to attack Amari Blair until Giselle Shaw comes out, tells her that it makes her sick to her stomach that you're putting down the younger generation of wrestlers who should be making a name for themselves. So basically, she's telling her, the last time you and I bumped in, you spilled coffee in my face. So basically, this goes back months prior, before a month or two prior before this. But however, this match was set and it's for the undisputed women's championship, and I'm hopefully I get to see this one. Next up, we got the undisputed British Cruiserweight championship between challenger and member of Legion Chris Ridgway versus Michael Oku. Now, this match has been set for months. Now, Gideon Gray believes that Chris Ridgway is the true beneficial of what cruiserweight division is. You look at Michael Oku, an exceptional high flyer, and then you look at Chris Ridgway, who is a brilliant submission expert. Every move that Ridgway did on Michael Oku, it did not work. He tries many methods, but however, somehow, someway, after being battered and beaten by Ridgway, he pulled an inside cradle on to Ridgeway to retain the title. So basically, it's one of the most intensified matches I've ever watched. It showed Michael Oku he is what the cruiserweight division is. However, he has something on his sleeve, something on his mind after the match where he throws in a promo saying that what happened last time, losing the tag titles the way he did, all thanks to Will Ospreay. It looks like he has some unfinished business with Ospreay. Well, everybody, and well, with the exception of Legion, they seem like they have an unfinished business with Ospreay. Next up, we got the surprising debut of All Japan Pro Wrestling star Francisco Akira. No, guys, he is not Japanese. He's an Italian by using a last name as Japanese. Taking on Robbie X, I have to say this was a pretty good match. Also, huge implications of the cruiserweight division in RevPro. I have to say it was really great, and I was surprised that Akira was able to pin Robbie Eagle in the match, and it was a huge disappointing for Robbie X, knowing that he should be now in constituency for a cruiserweight title shot. That kind of sucks. But yeah, next up we got Yota Tsuji taking on Ricky Knight Jr. This was one hell of a brutality match. I was like so impressed with what Yota Tsuji can do. He's on excursion, once a young lion, now he is making a name for himself, showing what he can do. I have to say, is pretty darn well. But however, it was Ricky Knight that pulled off one hell of a match, winning it. But however, he still has things around his chest. Apparently, he did not appreciate the fact that his friends who turned on Rev Pro, I'm talking about the current undisputed tag team champions, the Aussie Open, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, siding with Will Ospreay and part of United Empire, and basically he wanted to start a war with them. However, it was a 2-on-1 scenario until Young Guns came out to make the save. And then we jumped into the championship match for the undisputed British tag team titles. It was a pretty good one. I think it showed a lot of character, but however, out of desperation, Kyle Fletcher uses the belt to ensure that they disqualify themselves, but it gave the Young Guns a chance to, how to say, to win. But this is not what the Young Guns want. They haven't forgotten how they were played by Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay seems like he was interested in Young Guns, but he went for Aussie Open. But they wanted to set up a 6-on-6 match. The first person they approached was Ricky Knight. Now, Ricky Knight, he still hasn't forgotten what happened the last time when he was confronted by Will Ospreay when he thought that the Young Guns were involved. But however, Ricky Knight did say he forgives them, but he doesn't want to side with them. That put the Young Guns in a bad predicament, realizing they can't do this without him. But however, their surprising person who hates Will Ospreay showed up. I'm talking about Shota Umino. So it appears that they both have something in common. So Shota Umino decided to volunteer and become their partner to take on the United Empire. So I think this is going to be a very good match, and I hopefully I get to see it and review it because it shows. And I think the fans were calling it Shota Unagun. And it sounds like a ring to it. I think the Young Guns love it. So hopefully that we can see it, and I can't wait. So right now let's move on with AAW. Alrighty, so we're in AAW with the Windy City Classic number 26 or 16, I think. Yeah, I think it's 16. Sorry, it's the Roman numeral stuff. and this took place on the 26th of November, which was last month. Heard it was a pretty good event. It opened up with a number one contendership for the AAW Women's Championship. We had Sierra versus um, Charlie Evans versus Christy James versus Lady Frost. Now, these are good women who I believe have what it takes. But the one person that was able to come on top and should be in the title constituency was Christy James. You know, Christy James has busted her butt off many times over. And luckily, it was her who won the match, allowing herself to whoever's going to win the match between Sky Blue and Allison Kay. Next up, we got Silas Young versus one called Manders. Now, this was like more of a brawler type match. You know, basically anything could happen in this. But however, Silas Young picked up the victory by lifting his tights and getting away with it, claiming that he still is the best of what he was. He hasn't been with AAW for almost 5 years. So basically, he got away with that. Now, our next match is the AAW Women's Championship, the challenger Sky Blue versus Allison Kay. Now, Allison Kay and doesn't believe that Sky Blue has what it takes. She believes that she's still not ready to become champion. The match was pretty good until, however, it appears that Sierra did not appreciate knowing that she thinks that it's a load of crap that Sky Blue is getting the chance, so she wanted to be jumping head of the line. But however, since Allison Kate got in her face, Sierra and her friend, I forgot his name, decided to get themselves involved, costing her the title. So Sky Blue won the match, but Christy Jane shows up to congratulate her, and then she turned on her, start beating the crap out of her. Ren Jones showed up to give her support because he believed she was better than this. She should have been competing for the title, but all of a sudden, Ren Jones's rival Storm Grayson showed up to give the helping hand. So that is a pretty good match to watch. So we'll see what happens then. Then we had an 8-way ladder match. Whoever goes up to the top ladder will get like a stipulation match of their choosing. We had Jack Landers, Braden Lee, Storm Grayson, Hartenbauer, Jace, Jossie, Shaft, Gringo Loco, and Ren Jones. Now you can tell there's certain things. Jack Landers and Braden Lee are tag team. Ren Jones and Storm Grayson, they hate each other. That sort of thing. I was like, anything was going down in this particular match. I'm like, but however, it was Shaft who won this. He's like the one guy that he's the meanest SOB that you don't want to get involved with, and he actually won. Excuse me. Ooh. Next up, we have the Bourbon Street Fight match between Hakam and Hakeem Zayn, also known as Rohit Raju, to take on Myron Reed and Ace Austin. This match was so brutal, and I have to say I did like this one a lot because I did like how Ace Austin and what's his name, Myron Reed worked together, and I'm like thinking, why are these two paired up as a tag team for tag team gold? Come on, guys, think about it. But it was great. But I had this predicament that Gia Miller, Ace Austin's real life girlfriend, was going to show up to get even with Hakeem, but no. And that kind of made me disappointed. But the match was good. I'm not going to lie about that. The match was insanely good. But it was Myron Reed that pinned Hakim. But this would mean Hakeem should be worried who out of one of those two men, is it Myron Reed or Ace Austin, that will be chasing for the Heritage Championship? That is something he should be concerned about. Then once again, in the between matches, La Sociedad Boricua showed again. These guys once again won't just let it go, knowing that no one wants to have them around until Russ Jones shows up, beats the crap out of them. But Russ Jones had other plans. It appears he called out Larry D, who responded to a bounty on his head by John E. Bravo. I have to say, Russ Jones was in a fight of his life taking on Larry D, and I can't believe he beat him that quick, that really long. Like, really, really, it was intense. But I was like, wow, I like it. It was Russ who picked up the victory by pinning Larry D, and it was over. So that means Larry D is no longer the guy who was going to take out Russ Jones by John E. Bravo. But the real question is, who will be the next? Next match, we have the AAW Tag Team Championship. We have the challengers Ace Perry and Alex Hammerstone to take on Dante Leone and Jake Something. Now, I want to put a note on this. Dante Leone is not a tag team champion. He's just filling in. Stalin Rogers could make it, but Jake Something picked someone who will do. It was a pretty good match, but however, the match ended when Ace Perry was able to pin um, Dante Leone for the titles. It's like surprising for Jake Something to see it happen, but it did. So basically, they are no longer the tag team champions. Next up, we got a four-way match for the AAW for number one contendership for the AAW Heavyweight Championship between Rich Swann, Davey Vega, Josh Alexander, and Brody King. I have to say, these are men who are hungry. Davey Vega, who believes he should be in the title consistency, even told Matt Fitch if he won his match against um, Fred Yehi, he actually gets a shot at him. But however, it was Rich Swann who picked up a pretty good victory when he took out Davey Vega. It was pretty good. I have to say, it showed here's what this guy who earns his opportunity. Now, our main event is for the AAW Heavyweight Championship between Matt Fitchett and the Savage Weight Fred Yehi. This match was insane. Fred Yehi tried to pull every submission to force Fitchett to give up, but nothing worked. Every move he can think of, but somehow Matt Fitchett was able to pull an inside cradle on Yehi and win the match. It was surprisingly. But all of a sudden, Davey Vega shows up in the post match. Looks like he wants a shot. So the Shaft and then Rich Swann showed up. So basically, now there's a target on Matt Fitch's back. So the real question is now, who will be the first one to take a crack at it? My opinion, it should be Rich Swann because Rich Swann is the winner for the number one contendership. So I think we covered everything from AAW. I believe it's time for AEW Rampage. Okay, the last thing I'm going to review is All Elite Wrestling with Rampage with the Holiday Bash Night 2. Opening match was Jungle Boy along with Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. They take on Isaiah Cassidy, who's being accompanied by HFO consistent of Mark Quinn, Jora Joel, and of course Matt Hardy. Now, Jungle Boy was taped up from the ribs and leg. Basically, he overworked on it during training, so basically he put himself in a big target. But of course, we cannot forget the outside interference by the Hardy family office. But luckily, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus gave them the helping hand. But as soon as they cleared house, Jungle Boy was able to apply the snare trap, even despite the fact that Isaiah Cassidy tried to escape. It was at no avail. So basically, it was over from there. So Jungle Boy won an impressive match, and he and Luchasaurus are still in the contingency to challenge for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Next match, I have to say this was a very impressive match. We got Hook, the Cold Assassin, taking on Bear Bronson. This was a pretty good match where I think many fans are enjoying seeing Hook what he can do. I think even Jim Cornette praises him despite the fact that he has disagreements about what AEW do. And I think this is one of those wrestlers that I think fans could enjoy. But you could say is a big disadvantage. Bear Bronson's big. True. But I think it showed how Hookie's this mean guy, cold hearted, who doesn't give a damn. And it played out pretty well until he put him in that chokehold and forced Bronson to give up. So I think we could see good things coming from Hook out of this match, and people talk about him all over social media, and I think it's a good thing. Next up, we got ladies action: Layla Hirsch versus um, Chris Sandlander. This one is also a really good one. But however, I don't know exactly what's the point of it because they did mention that they're friends, they work together outside other promotions. But it was Chris Statlander that won when she pulled the big back dinner. But however, Layla Hirsch was not a happy camper, basically losing. Now our main event is for the TNT Championship between Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. Now keep in mind, 2 years ago, the first TNT match, it was Sammy Guevara versus Cody. Sammy has won. I mean, Cody won that match. But however, can history repeat itself again? That is the question that I think it was played. I think there were some great moments in this match, move after move, spot after spot. And I think it shows. I think fans did not want Cody to win. I think, but it's kind of strange. Like not too long ago, Cody won the TNT title back, and then he could hold on to it for a while. And then that's when Darby Allin took it out. I don't know if we're preparing to see a new uh, champion crown soon. I don't know, but that's something we gotta see. But it was Cody who pulled off a an impressive victory when he applied two crossroads and a Tiger Suplex 98, allowing himself to become the third time, three-time TNT champion. And I think this is a real question: who will be the one to dethrone Cody out of that title? Well, only time will tell. We'll just wait and see when that day comes. And I think that's about it what I got. So let's close the show. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoyed me reviewing these events. I hope you guys enjoyed too. But before I go, I want to make a little shout out to Stardom's star, a member of the Cosmic Angels, Mina Shirakawa. If you guys know, it's her birthday. So, yay. Congratulations, Mina. Happy birthday. I hope everybody knows who she is. She and the Cosmic Angels are my favorite faction in Stardom. So, if you guys get a chance to go and congratulate her on social media, I think I already congratulated her because it was already Christmas here, but it was already the 26th over there. So, uh, I'm very happy for her. So coming up, we will do a review for two different shows. That's going to be part one on the Sunday one. After this one, we have got Choco Pro 185, and of course, a past event by none other than Gambari Pro that took place, and I believe that took place near October, and I can't wait to do that. And hopefully by then I will review another one afterwards. So we'll see what happens then. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.